All right, good morning. Make sure my mic works. Yes, it's on. Like I said, good morning, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. Yeah, let's jump into day 2 of Advent of Code. Put this down a little bit. All right, so day 2, I haven't read it yet. Let's look at our little leaderboard real quick. Yep, I'm in last, but at least I'm getting them done. I just can't get to these right away, and I don't want to stay up till midnight to do them right away. So maybe if I did one night, I stayed up, that would throw me up top of these guys. All right, day 2. I've already built out a little bit of the scaffolding because I got excited. So I've already started. Really, this is my base structure. You have your input that the problem gives you. You have your part 1 script, part 2 script. Sometimes I'll make tests, but the last one, the calculating 1,000 rows, or what last time was 2,000 rows, that didn't take that long, at least on this computer, which is a beast. So sometimes, I guess maybe I won't use tests going forward, but last year when I did this, I was on kind of a toaster and I needed to run my scripts against a smaller sample so it would go faster, but I probably don't need to do that this time. So let's just jump right in. Oh, day 2, dive. Now you need to figure out how to pilot this thing. It seems like a submarine can take a series of commands like forward 1, down 2, or up 3. So forward moves your horizontal position, down increases the depth, and up decreases the depth. Now, since you're on a submarine, down and up affect your depth. So you have the opposite result of what you might expect. Yeah, so down would increase the depth. So down is positive, up would be a negative value. That's what that says. The submarine seems to already have a planned course, which is my input. I've already copied. You should probably figure out where it's going. So forward 5, down 5, forward 8, blah, blah, blah. Your horizontal position and depth both start at 0. The steps above would then modify them as follows. Blah, blah, blah. After following these instructions, you would have a horizontal position of 15 and a depth of 10. Multiply these together. Gets you 150. Calculate the horizontal position and depth you would have after following my course. And then multiply them together, and that's my answer. So if I click here, I get my input. I've already copied this. Apparently there's an API call you can make to get your input automatically. I'm not going to mess with that. But you can get this, instead of storing it as a file, you could store some REST call to get this. But anyway, let's get started. So get content. Data equals get content. Oh, I'm in the wrong folder. Days to PowerShell. Get content of input. I should have 1,000. Yep. Okay. So we need to keep track of an x-axis and a y-axis, basically. I'm thinking a loop. So for each line, I need to figure out this, and that will tell me if I'm affecting x or y, and then the amount. So they start at 0, so x equals 0, y equals 0, and then this will be another for loop just like before. For I equals 0, I less than data.count, and no, I guess I'll do, yeah, just I++. So if you've never seen, PowerShell has like for each object or for each something in list of somethings. That's usually the PowerShell syntax. This is how you structure for loops in like every other language, and this also works in PowerShell. So what this is saying is, this allows you to loop a certain, a controlled amount of times, dynamically controlled amount of times. So if this had 10,000 or 5 or, 37 items, this loop would run an exact amount of times. And so we say we're going to start at 0. Every time we hit this loop, if I is less than data.count, which is in this case 1000, then go ahead and run. And so eventually I is going to be more than 1000, and then that's how we know how to stop. I++ just means at the end of the loop, ++ means increment it by 1. So this runs at the beginning, so I equals 0 at the start. 0 is less than count. And then after this whole loop, whatever we write, I is going to go up to be equal to 1. And then we basically loop through this for the rest of the loop. This gets ran once just to start, like I said. And then so 1 is less than 1000, blah, blah, blah. Now I equals 2. So that's what we're doing until I equals 1000. This will break because 1000 is not less than 1000. And that's where we want to stop. So just a quick explanation on that for loop structure if you've never seen it in PowerShell before. I know I used it yesterday, but blah, blah, blah. Okay. So once I have this, I basically have a one line like this. And in my mind, it's always a word, a space, a number. So I'm going to split this with a space. So let's see. What do I want to call this? Action equals data. Yeah, there we go. That's exactly what I want. So I'm going to make my own. Well, this is a little this would make this more readable. This is a little unnecessary what I'm about to do. Let's say let's make a custom object where direction equals the first. So if I split data 0, split on a space, that gives me 2 items now. And so the first item in that list will always be the direction, and the second item will always be the amount. Yep, just like that. So that's what I want. And then I want to make a switch on the action dot direction because I have to do different things depending on if it's forward or up or down. Yeah, so let's just do this. So if the action is, oops, lowercase forward, then we're going to say that's forward and backwards. So the x-axis, hang on, there's no back, it's only forward. Okay, so that means x equals x plus action dot amount. So right now x is 0, so I'm saying the new x value is 0 plus, in this case, 3. And then we store that and we'll multiply those later. If it's, what are the other ones? Down and up. If it's down, then we're going to say y equals y plus action dot amount. And if it's up, y equals y minus action.amount. So that's what this was saying. It made a comment about this being backwards because we're measuring depth. So if we're going down, you'd think that's negative, but our depth increases. Our depth goes up if we're going down. So we're going to add it to the previous amount. And if we go up, our depth gets smaller, so we have to subtract. So that takes care of the loop. And then let's just write out some... Well, I'm going to learn from my mistake last time. We're going to throw this in a... This will always be a word, and this needs to always be a number. Okay. So write output, x is x, y is y, and this is going to be x times y. All right, let's see if this works on the first try. Part 1. Cool. Let's see. Yeah, cool. All right, part 2. If there's any questions on any of this, please ask. I'm actually surprised that this worked on the first try, but like I said, these days start out pretty easy. The logic is pretty simple to follow. This could probably be written with much fewer lines of code, but this is very readable and it's easy to understand what I'm doing. So I like to take the time. Readability is sometimes matters more than performance or whatever. If this is easy to read and understand, then that's a win in my book. So this could be shorter, but it works. Okay, let's save this and we'll just move on to part 2 because we're already done here. Save. Okay, let's read part 2. Based on your calculations, the planned course doesn't seem to make any sense. You find the submarine manual and discover that the process is actually slightly more complicated. In addition to horizontal position and depth, you'll also need to track a third value, aim. Ooh. Which also starts at 0. Think of this as like the z-axis, probably. The commands also mean something entirely different than you first thought. Down increases aim by x. Up increases aim by x. Forward does 2 things. It increases your horizontal position by x. That's the same as before. It increases your depth by your aim multiplied by x. Oh. Okay. Again, note that since you're on a submarine, down and up are opposite, blah, blah, blah. Now, the above example does something different. Forward 5 adds your horizontal position, 5, but because your aim is 0, the depth does not change. Okay. So aim is now x. And y is forward. Okay. So down 5 adds 5 to your aim, resulting in a x of 5. Forward 8 adds 8 to your horizontal position, a total of 13. Okay. Because your aim is 5. Oh, okay. Your depth increases by 8. So we're keeping track of x separately, and y just becomes multiplied every time we do this. Up 3 decreases your aim by 3, resulting in a value of 2. Wait. Down 5. doesn't this change our depth? This is saying, okay, this sets our depth to 40. But then here it's saying it's back down to 2. Down adds 8, resulting in a value of 10. That doesn't make sense to me. Okay. After following these new instructions, you have a horizontal of 15 and a depth of 60. Oh, no, this makes sense. Forward is the thing that multiplies. Okay. This is Y. Y is up and down. My X is what gets... I'll have to write out some code and think about this. Using the new interpretation, calculate the horizontal. Same thing. Find an X and Y and multiply them. Multiply, yeah. I'm going to copy this scaffolding. Oops. Because all we're doing is changing some of the criteria down here. So forward 5 adds 5 to X. Okay, let's just call this aim. Well, I'll leave this the same. This doesn't matter. Forward. This is still true. Oh, okay. I do need a third value here to keep track. So let's call this X is forward. This is going to be aim. And this will still be depth. Okay. Hey, Doofus. Hey, Noel. Yeah. Working on day 2. So, forward moves me forward 5, but because my aim is 0, I gotta change this. The way it's set up right now is that this is aim and I'll have Z as depth. So forward is still this, but now I have to say Z equals aim multiplied by the amount. Z equals Y times yeah, okay. Because right now, action amount is going to be, 5 or whatever. But right now, Y is 0. Y hasn't been changed at all. Down and up changes my aim. So this is still correct. And that's it. Forward is the only thing that needs to increase or decrease the depth. Up and down just changes my aim. It's only when I move forward at that aim do I actually go down. So I only need that there. But now, what am I supposed to multiply? Horizontal and a depth of 15. Yeah, okay, so I still need to multiply x by z. Okay. Let's try this. That's not the right answer. It's too low. Down changes y. Up changes y. X times z. Am I missing something? Yep, down increases the aim, which is y. By your current aim multiplied by x. Yeah, I did that. This is all... this should work. Horizontal position of 15. Let me take... Here's where this comes in handy. So let me make a test input. Let's point part 2 to this. Okay, so now I can see what's going wrong. I should be getting x of 15, that's correct, but a depth of 60. Z equals 0. Forward, down, forward. Oh, okay. Oh, here's what I'm missing. I'm not taking into account the previous value of z. So here it's set to 40. And then z gets put up to 20. But I'm just saying overwrite z with this new amount, whether it's 40 or 20 or whatever. What I need to say is z plus... So keep the original amount plus whatever the new multiplication is. That's my new depth. Yeah, there we go. That's what I was missing. So now there's my answer of 900. Yeah. A much bigger number. There we go. Yay. 2 stars. Still in last place. Yeah. So I've got this. Part 2, part 1. Okay. I got this one done much quicker than yesterday. Because I'm taking something I learned from yesterday's and including it today. I don't know. I don't want to have to change my entire PowerShell, the way I write to do this, but I guess I should where it makes sense. So I'm forcing this value to be a word, a string, which is forward or up or down. And I'm forcing whatever comes next to be a number. That was the issue I had with day one. That's why I was one off, is one of them came across as a string and I compared a string to a number and then that broke and I was one off. So I'm making sure that doesn't happen here. When I'm doing addition and subtraction, I want to make sure I'm dealing with numbers. So yeah, all right. Finishing day 2, part 1 and 2. And that should get everything up here. Yep, there we go. Let me just message in here. Today's was much. Whoops. Okay. So we're done here. Now what? We've got some time. Now what? I don't know what to work on right now. Oh, Dashy. That's something I'm playing with. Not much, not really anything to do with PowerShell. PSIS helper. I don't really want to jump into that. Oh, no, you want me to look at this? Is this something that I can put on stream? There's nothing in here sensitive, right? This is your DNS stuff. Yeah. Just give me the thumbs up on Discord that I can actually stream the script you sent, and yeah, I'll do that. Yep. Okay. Let me copy this. Let's get out of here. Let me come to... All right. Oh, I don't think I copied the whole. Oops. Here's the whole file. There we go. So let's save this as... Cool. All right, so Noel, what exactly is the issue here? You're saying you want to swap read host for parameters? You want to parameterize this? Sorry, I'm just getting rid of extra spaces. Oh, you want to speed it up. All right. Yeah, lots of loops. Let's just take a generic look and see if there's any performance things we can do. All right. So this is a, oh, okay. Here's one of your read hosts. Yeah. Okay. So you got some functions up here, and then you're doing stuff with those functions. So let's look at the first function that you use, which is get all domains. So you've got your query. Okay, and you go through each page. So PowerShell's not like case sensitive here. This is not a performance thing, but usually I just use, there's a built-in true and false variables. PowerShell's not case sensitive. I think that's what that I equals is a not case sensitive comparison, but I've never had this not work. True equals lowercase true or uppercase true. Yeah, it's the same thing. So I just use the variable. Get your results. This is a big thing that we can improve the performance on. So when you use this works. When you use the plus equals, you're saying output domains is some array that you have, and you're wanting to add an item to that array. Whatever the item is, it could be an object, a string, whatever. It's just an array of things. The problem with the plus equals syntax is when you create an array this way, when you create an array this way, it's of a fixed size, and that size cannot be changed. So you create an array of 0 items. Output domains cannot change. You're not technically adding anything to output domains. What you're doing when you use this plus equals syntax is it's putting the current output domains next to domain, and then it creates an entirely new cloned array with the new value. You're not actually adding anything. You're cloning it with an extra item attached to the end. And eventually, over a lot of stuff, you know, I don't know how many, let's say this is like 100 things. You have to clone, you know, right away you're cloning an array of 0, but then you clone an array of 1, and then you clone an array of 2 and add something, and then you clone the whole thing of 3. And eventually you're cloning, it's just extra work that multiplies. So there's things we can do called array list. Let's just do this. Or maybe it's just array list. What's this called? Can't remember the name of the type. Okay, system collections array list. There's probably 3,000 to 4,000 domains. Yeah, so eventually once you're on, you know, item number 3,000 out of 4,000, you're cloning your array of 3,000, adding 1. Then you clone an array of 3,001, add 1. So for small stuff, this it's almost not noticeable at all. But the bigger something gets, plus equals is dog water for performance. So if we did something like system.collections.array list, and I want to make sure that this works down here. Okay, nothing. Count is 0. When you do an array list, you get a method called add. And it adds that item. Gives you some output. So now I have something. And here I want to add the entire result of getProcess as my... maybe I can't do that. Yeah. So my first item in this array is a string. My second item is all of the output of getProcess. So you can add whatever you want. And it didn't clone. ArrayList is a mutable array, which means it's editable. The length is. You can actually just add something to the end, very low compute, instead of cloning and everything. So now that we've got this, it's an ArrayList. You would then add your domain. And we're going to do this everywhere. Everywhere that you've got this plus equals. This is going to be a massive... Well, what do you mean by page num plus equals 1? You're trying to increase the value of page num, right? And if you want to chat on Twitch now so everyone else can see, I'm having this one-sided awkward conversation. You're trying just page num to be 1, then 2, then 3, right? You just want it to go up 1. If that's the case, we're just going to do page num plus plus. Honestly, I don't know performance-wise the difference, but that's what we want. Max page num. There's no plus plus for max page num. Okay, so increased performance. I'm not sure why you're sleeping here. Obviously, that's wasted time. You could play with, can you sleep any sooner? Maybe 90 milliseconds instead of 10. If you're doing this thousands of times, this is obviously dead time. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to get boxed out or DOS the endpoint, probably. So this might be a necessary compute, but this is going to be a big one. The more loops you're doing this ArrayList add is huge. Yeah, next page of results. Max page num. So eventually, I guess I don't know why you're adding. Why were you doing plus equals 1 here for page num? Because as soon as page num increments, this is going to break, right? Can you explain what this is for? While I wait for that. Hello, first time chatter. Thanks so much. So in this stream, if you go back and watch it later, I went through and I'm working through the AdventOfCode challenges. This is an awesome site. This guy does this every year. And it gives you a coding challenge, solve a problem, do some math, blah, blah, blah. And I'm obviously doing that in PowerShell. Last year, I didn't do all 25 days, so I'm hoping to stream every day and get all 25 days done. They start out easy. They get harder and harder. So we'll just see how it goes. Yeah, sure. Ask whatever you want. Noel, I'm still waiting for what this is supposed to do. I'm just going to leave it for now. Because page num equals 1. Programming question. Do you ever copy paste code? I copy paste code to look at it, but all code that I use in my own scripts, I type out. So I literally, like, even if something I find on Stack Overflow or something is the exact thing that I need and it works and the code looks correct and there's nothing wrong with it, I will literally have it side by side and type it all out myself. And there's just something about, like, handwriting your own notes. Your brain just picks it up and you understand what's going on a little better. So if I ever copy paste something, I type it all out myself. And so if I miss something that's wrong in the code, instead of just copy pasting and moving on, I type it all out so I can catch that stuff. But I mean, yeah, there's camps that, like, you know, you should never copy paste code, but In some cases, why reinvent the wheel? But you just got to make sure that you're using the right wheel, and that it works for you. So to start, it's not that copy pasting code is bad, but it is. When I first started learning PowerShell, it was so helpful to have a few people that had a bunch of code that I could look at just to see what good code looked like and learn what the heck are you doing. So a guy that I worked with, I was like, this is a random request, but like all the scripts you make, can I just get a copy of them so I can just look through them? And I would go to him with questions on what the heck is this? How do you know what this is doing? And then eventually I would be copy pasting that code. But like I said, when I started out, I was literally typing the code myself. So I get used to the PowerShell syntax. I get used to just the commands and how they work and the order of parameters and things like that. So there's nothing wrong with copy pasting code. I just wouldn't do it forever, right? You need to eventually, you'll be good enough where you won't ever have to copy paste code. You'll just be able to write this from scratch at will because you're awesome. You'll get there. Don't get discouraged. Keep learning. Okay. I want to see what this is doing because it's not originally an array, but yeah. So I'm just going to change this to ++ because it's just better. Okay, and then we're done with this function. That's a huge performance improvement. My guess is we're going to see more of this plus equals stuff. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. This is seriously going to just change your life, Noel. Do this, and then all we do is call upon the add method on that array. But you'll notice when I did that add something else, you get like an output. It outputs how many things are the new length of the array. So we're gonna have to add this null equals to the beginning, so it just shuts up. Otherwise, you'll just get all these numbers in the console. The add method returns the new length. That's what it's doing. And we just want that to die. So null is a variable. It's a built-in variable that equals null, right? And it cannot be overridden. So it's always null. So if we tried to overwrite null with a value, the effect is it just gets lost in the ether, right? And that number goes nowhere. Doesn't go to the console, doesn't go anywhere, lost in space. There's other ways to do this. We could pipe this into out null, which is supposed to do the same thing, but you have to call upon PowerShell spinning up a pipeline to do this, which is, in my brain, more compute than just setting it equal to this. No pipeline. Anyway, so this is faster. I forgot we have to do this, so we'll do that there. We'll do this here. And I don't see any other plus equals for this one. Update record. No plus equals here, so let's just look at this real quick. So you're building your query. Hey, Xbox gamer. So right now I'm helping Noel out on a script because I finished what I was doing before. But what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to try to be streaming every single day for Advent. So December 1st through the 25th. And there's this site, AdventOfCode, that every day a new coding challenge comes out and you can solve this in whatever language you want. You don't even have to use a language. It would be grueling to figure this out manually. But it's a coding exercise. You can use Go, Ruby, Python, Bash, PowerShell, whatever you want. And so we're just doing it in PowerShell. So every day there's these, scenario. It's a word problem, and the data that I get is unique to me. So my answer for this was 1,583. But that's not your answer. You'll get different data. Your answer is unique. So you really have to you can't copy my answer. It's the code that you'd have to copy or whatever. I finished this early today, so now I'm helping Noel on something. We're making this script faster, which I think, Noel, just what we've done already is just over the top. You're going to be so surprised with how much faster it is. I don't see success equals to true. Yeah, so Advent, it goes from December 1st to the 25th. The problems get harder over time, so I'm hoping to finish the problem on the day it comes out. Eventually, it'll probably take me more than an hour, right? So I don't know. I can't stream for 8 hours a day, right? I have a job. But we'll do what we can on stream. And all my results are out on GitHub. So all my solutions, when I have them, are pushed out here. So I've got, day 1. Here's my part 1 code and my part 2 code. Here's my input for problem 1, but yours will be different. So you'll have a different answer, blah, blah, blah. So if you ever want to compare, lots of people post their code out here in different languages. So anyway, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not seeing anything in this function that stands out. I mean, you're doing your typical sleep somewhere in here, right? Or that's down here. You've got another sleep down here. You've got 100 milliseconds inside of this. And then oh, this is a loop itself. Okay. Get all domains, which we sped up. And then we're looping through get DNS records, which we sped up. And then you're looping through just displaying output. And then updating that record. It sounds like there is no API limit, like requests per minute for the update records, because you don't have a sleep in this function. It's outside. So I don't know, do you mean to not have a sleep in this loop? Or what? But if this all works, great. I think what we've done already is performance enough. This is huge. When I learned about this, like there's whole, like I listened to an entire, maybe it wasn't a podcast, but it was a massive blog post about why never to use plus equals in PowerShell. That's where I first learned this. And I think there's a couple ways around this, but I think the array list add method is my favorite. It just looks the simplest. There's other ways to do this, but this just looks easy. The only quirk is you have to throw it into null, otherwise you'll get a value every time. Hey, Corgo Lord, welcome to the stream. We do PowerShell all day long, which is great. So, Noel, let me send this back to you. I guess just to make sure that it still works. PowerShell. There you go. Oh, whoops. Let me get rid of this. There you go. See, for every domain it looks at. Oh, okay, so this might be you're updating 1 or 2 records at a time in this loop. This loop is not thousands of things. It's like 1 or 2, or maybe 1, and then you sleep. A safer way to do this would be to add the sleep here. Just to make sure, because let's say you get like 10 records at once from this. You could loop through 10 at once with no sleep at all. And if that happens a couple times, you're, you know, above the limit. So putting the sleep inside of this loop here would just be a more sure way to make sure you don't cross that threshold. But maybe not. I technically don't know how much data comes through in each of these. I guess I'll leave that up to you if you want to move that or not. I'll leave this here. I already sent you the code, but yeah, that's all initially that I see, which is like, you'll probably see a significant increase in performance with that. I don't want to break my back doing more, and I got to go soon. So yeah, that was nice. So for anyone joining right now, Noel just sent me a script and said, hey, make this faster, which is what I've done. If you missed it, in these arrays, he had plus equals like this. So you've got an empty array and you're looping through stuff. And once you find your data, you want to add that to an array and you're looping through that. But plus equals is very expensive. The more loops you're doing, the more things you're adding to an array using this method, it just gets slower and slower and slower. And like Noel said over here in Discord, there's like 3,000 to 4,000 times he's looping through this. So what we're doing instead is using the add method on this type of array. It's an array list. By default, without this is a... let me get rid of that. Output domains. Oh, this is an array list. Hang on, what's the difference then? I know there's a difference, but either way, adding this here just makes sure that it's being created as the correct array list instead of like an array of objects or something that doesn't have the add method. And this is much faster. So anyway, yeah, any other questions? This was kind of random. So thanks, Noel, for that. But yeah, so we've got a private leaderboard that my boy Kev started. And there's just a couple of us, but these are really just folks from our Discord server. We're trying to get more people to do this. Maybe they will eventually, but I'm in this private leaderboard because it's embarrassing to be last place in the big one. So yay, private leaderboards. I'm in third instead of a millionth. So if you want to join, where is the code for this? Let me get the code. What you'll do is you'll come in, you'll put a code in here. It's one of these. I don't remember which one, and click join. And then that leaderboard will show up here. So let me find that quick. I know I posted it before the stream started, but I don't know if you're watching my stream and you join after a message gets sent, if you're able to scroll back up and see it. So let me post it again here. Can't I find this? Here it is. So here's the code. If you want to join, you don't have to use PowerShell. You can use whatever you want. Python or whatever. It's just fun doing it with everybody at the same time. So, yeah. Let's get out of there. I'm done with that. I already pushed this up. So, yeah. Hey, look at that. I reached 1,500 module downloads. That's pretty cool. On the PowerShell gallery. So admin toolkit. Ooh, almost 1,000. That's really cool. These are all the modules that I've published to the PowerShell gallery. This one's dead. This one's dead. They won't give me their API access. I wanted to write commands that you can order Chipotle, right, from PowerShell commands, or order Chick-fil-A, but they don't have anonymous API access to do that. So yeah, those are still out here. You can never delete something from the PowerShell gallery, just to make sure if someone has a dependency on something. If I'm a jerk and I just want to delete it, like they can't delete the Azure module. If someone needs a specific version, it's out here forever, so it's safe. I published this to reserve the name, but now it's dead, so this is just out here. And 86 people have downloaded this module that doesn't do anything. But my two big ones are Help Desk and Admin Toolkit. And now I've started PSIIS Helper recently. That's what I've been working on outside of AdventOfCode. Just commandlets to help with IIS things. It's pretty basic right now, but eventually it'll do cool stuff. Let's go back to GitHub. But yeah, I've got an action in GitHub every hour that checks this number on the PowerShell gallery compared to the number that's hard-coded in this badge on my profile. And if they're not the same, it updates it. So I've actually got a lot of automation on my profile. This GIF is generated, I think, like once a week. Once I get a new week of GitHub stats, it makes a new GIF with new whatever, and the snake eats everything. This happens hourly. My visitors number is automatic. If I just refresh, that goes up. So there's no automation on that. This is updated every hour. This is updated. It checks every hour for new blog posts. And if there's a new blog post, it will update this list. But this checks every hour. I don't post a blog post every hour, obviously. And I think this happens every hour as well. So this is like a massive stats for GitHub for my stuff. What's cool about this is to not clutter up my profile, because this will change every hour, right? I'm doing stuff all the time. Every time this updates, it's got to make a new commit to my profile. Well, instead of doing that, I actually host this in a GitHub gist. Let me just go to that gist. Yeah, this one. So it's just out in a GitHub gist. And then, so this has 54 revisions. And this gets the cluttered Git history instead of my profile. Geez, it's taking forever to load. Yeah, so here's all the changes every hour that it made. I wanted to fill this up and not my profile, this history. So that's pretty cool. And then my profile just points to that gist. So that's fun. And I think that's it on my profile. Whoops, actions. Make the new GIF once a week. This is hourly. This is an action that I created. So I've got Noel down here as a GitHub sponsor. He shows up automatically on my profile anyway. This is automatic, but this is just more front and center, or I could add this to a specific repository if I wanted. This is handled by, I've got a file out here called sponsors. And if I change this file, that action kicks off. So it doesn't run hourly, it just runs whenever this changes. So sponsor me and you'll get on here, you get your big ugly mug on my profile. Yeah. Well, that's all I got for today. Like I said, hopefully we'll stream tomorrow for day 3 of AdventOfCode. It comes out at midnight, and I don't want to stay up to midnight. So that's why my score sucks. The sooner you do it, the more points you get. Is there a way to see? I guess there's not really a way to see. Well, yeah, so here, it took me this long to do it. So that's my rank compared to everyone else's however long it took everyone on the site to do this. And I didn't get any points for it because it just took me way too long. But people stay up till midnight. They'll get them done in a couple minutes maybe or less. And they get, the sooner you do it, the more points you get. So, yeah, anyway. All right, well, I'm going to go. Thanks for the questions. I'll answer any question at any time while I'm on, which is great. Yeah, thanks for the chat. I'll see you guys next time. I'm glad my mic worked this time. I didn't talk for 5 minutes before Noel chimes in. Noel, you save my bacon every single stream when I don't check my mic. Just make sure that it's on. So, yeah, I've been your doofus. Tune in tomorrow. Hopefully I stream tomorrow. And yeah, I'll see you there. Thanks, guys.